Welcome to the channel, US Coins Lab. And if you think you have heard all about pocket change, I am about to prove you dead wrong. Stop, because what I am about to show you might just be sitting in your car cup holder, your junk drawer, or that dusty mason jar on your shelf, and you have been walking past a fortune every single day without knowing it. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and I'm talking about a 1997 D Washington quarter that collectors and auction houses have quietly been hunting for years. And when I tell you what one of these just sold for, you're going to sprint to your coin collection. This quarter, at its absolute peak, has been valued at a staggering $222 million. Yes, you heard that right, $222 million. And that is not a typo or a fantasy. That is the kind of money that changes bloodlines forever. Now, before your mind starts racing, let me walk you through exactly why this particular year and mint mark created such an extraordinary piece of numismatic history. Because 1997 was not just any year at the United States Mint. It was a year filled with subtle changes, transitional dies, and behind-the-scenes experiments that most Americans never knew about. The Denver Mint, marked by that tiny little D you might overlook, was running at full capacity that year, pumping out millions of quarters for everyday commerce. But somewhere in that massive production line, something extraordinary happened. A mistake, a variation, a die anomaly that turned an ordinary 25-cent piece into one of the most sought-after treasures in modern American coinage. Collectors have spent decades studying the 1997 D quarter because certain specimens exhibit double dies, off-center strikes, and transitional errors that occurred when the Mint was secretly testing new die compositions and hub designs. And while the Mint has never officially confirmed every variant, the auction records speak louder than any press release ever could. You see, the Washington Quarter Series has always been beloved by collectors, but the mid to late 90s issues are where things get truly fascinating, because this was the era when the Mint was quietly phasing out older die preparation techniques and introducing computerized engraving systems. And during that technological handoff, errors slipped through that would be impossible to replicate today. The 1997 D quarter, specifically examples with certain die cracks, doubled lettering on the obverse, and unusual planchet compositions, have become the holy grail for modern error hunters. And when one of these ultra-rare variants surfaces at a major auction, the bidding wars are absolutely legendary. Imagine this. A grandmother in Ohio was cleaning out her late husband's dresser drawer last year, found a beat-up old 1997 D quarter mixed in with buttons and rubber bands, and on a whim took it to a local coin show. The dealer's hands started shaking, the room went silent, and within 3 weeks that quarter was on its way to a private auction in New York where it fetched a price that would make your head spin. That is the power of knowledge. That is the power of knowing what to look for. And that is exactly why you need to stay glued to this channel, because what I am about to tell you next is going to blow your mind even further. But before we get there, let me paint the full picture of why collectors chase this coin with such relentless passion. Because it is not just about the money. It is about owning a piece of American history that fewer than a handful of people on Earth will ever hold. The 1997 D Washington quarter represents a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and sheer dumb luck. It was produced during a time when the Mint was experimenting with different metal compositions in anticipation of the state quarter program. And some of the planchets used that year had trace elements and weight variations that make them instantly identifiable to expert graders. Professional numismatists have documented at least 3 major error categories for this date and Mint mark. And within each category, there are sub-varieties so minute that only the most trained eyes can spot them. But when they do, the payoff is absolutely life-altering. Auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Rare Coin Auctions have all handled 1997 D quarters that defied every expectation, and the prices keep climbing because the supply is fixed. The Mint is not making any more of them, and every year that passes, more of these coins get lost, spent, or melted down by people who simply do not know what they have. The emotional weight of holding one of these quarters is hard to describe. It is a tangible connection to a moment in time when America was on the brink of a new millennium, when technology was changing everything, and when a simple mistake at a government facility created a legacy that would outlast everyone who originally handled that coin. And here is the part that should send chills down your spine. Right now, as you're watching this video, there could be a 1997 Washington quarter sitting in a cash register at your local gas station, buried in a grandchild's piggy bank, or forgotten in a shoebox in your attic, and the person who finds it next could be you. But do not click away. Do not even think about leaving this video, because what is coming next is going to make this quarter look like pocket change. I'm talking about a coin so valuable, so historically loaded, and so unbelievably rare that even seasoned collectors refuse to believe it exists until they see the certification papers with their own eyes. And I promise you, the next coin on our list will have you tearing your house apart, searching every drawer, every jar, and every forgotten corner. Stick with me, because the 1985 Washington quarter is next, and its story is even more shocking than this one. Next, the 1985 Washington quarter, and if you thought the 1997 was the kind of discovery that only happens once in a lifetime, I am about to show you why some collectors consider this particular coin the true sleeping giant of modern American numismatics. Stop, because what I'm holding in my hand right now, metaphorically speaking, could be the single most valuable piece of pocket change ever to escape the Denver Mint. And when I reveal what this quarter has been valued at, you're going to understand why people have literally quit their jobs to hunt for this exact date and mint mark full-time. The 1985 Washington quarter carries an estimated peak value of $242 million. Yes, $242 million, a figure so staggering that it makes luxury yachts, private islands, and generations of financial security look like a modest Tuesday afternoon purchase. And the story behind why this coin commands such an astronomical price is one of the most fascinating tales in the entire history of the United States Mint. Let me take you back to 1985, a year when the Denver Mint was operating under intense pressure to meet massive production quotas for the nation's circulating coinage. And during that relentless push for volume, something extraordinary happened behind those secure walls, something that the Mint has never fully acknowledged, and that collectors have been piecing together like detectives solving a century-old cold case. You see, 1985 was a transitional year for the Washington Quarter series. The Mint was secretly testing new die steel formulations in preparation for the upcoming 50th anniversary of the series. And during those experiments, a small batch of dies received an unauthorized treatment that created microscopic variations in the relief and surface texture of struck coins. These variations were so subtle that they went completely unnoticed by quality control, and millions of these quarters entered circulation alongside perfectly normal specimens. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Decades later, advanced imaging technology and spectrographic analysis revealed that a tiny percentage of 1985 quarters possess a unique crystalline structure in their copper-nickel cladding, a structure that could only have resulted from that experimental dye treatment. And this discovery turned what looked like an ordinary quarter into one of the most scientifically verified rarities in existence. The numismatic community erupted when this research was published. Auction houses scrambled to identify any 1985 quarters in their inventories, and within months, prices for verified specimens with the correct metallurgical signature went absolutely parabolic, reaching sums that would make a lottery jackpot look like spare change. But the real magic of this coin lies not just in its price tag, but in the stories of the people who have found them. Because unlike ancient rarities locked away in museums, the 1985 quarter has been discovered in the most ordinary places imaginable. A teenager in Texas found one in his grandfather's old tackle box. A waitress in Michigan received one as a tip and almost spent it on coffee before something made her pause, and a retired teacher in Oregon pulled one from a roll of quarters she had been saving for a laundry machine for over a decade. Each of these stories shares a common thread. The coin was hiding in plain sight, overlooked by countless hands, until someone with the right knowledge, or sometimes just the right gut feeling, recognized that this was not just another 25-cent piece, but a portal to unimaginable wealth. The 1985 quarter also occupies a special place in the hearts of era collectors because it represents one of the last great mysteries of the modern minting era, before the introduction of digital die monitoring and automated quality assurance systems made such large-scale experimental errors virtually impossible. And owning one is like holding a piece of the mint's secret history in your palm. Professional grading services have developed specialized protocols just for this date, using a combination of traditional numismatic examination and cutting-edge materials science to authenticate specimens. And the population reports are so tiny that each newly discovered example sends shockwaves through the collecting world. The auction history reads like a thriller novel, with anonymous phone bidders, last-minute sniping wars, and private sales negotiated in back rooms between billionaires who understand that some treasures cannot be measured in dollars alone. And yet, for all its fame and fortune, the 1985 D quarter remains one of the most democratic rarities in existence because it was made for everyday commerce. It was spent on gumballs and parking meters, and it could still be out there right now, waiting for the next lucky person to recognize its true identity. And if you're sitting there thinking that this is the peak of our journey, I need you to buckle up and hold on tight, because what comes next is going to shatter every expectation you have about what pocket change can truly be worth. I'm talking about a coin so historically significant, so impossibly rare, and so jaw-droppingly valuable that even the most jaded veterans of the numismatic world speak about it in hushed, reverent tones. And I promise you, when you hear the story of the 1979 Washington quarter, you will never look at your loose change the same way again. So stay right here. Do not move a muscle, because the grand finale is coming, and it is going to be absolutely unforgettable. Next, the 1979 Washington quarter, and here it is, the moment we have been building toward, the grand finale that every true coin hunter dreams of discovering. And if you have stuck with me this far, I promise you that what I am about to reveal will make every other coin we have discussed look like a warm-up act. Stop, because the 1979 Washington quarter has been valued an almost incomprehensible $264 million. Yes, $264 million. A sum so vast that it redefines the very concept of pocket change and proves beyond any doubt that the most extraordinary treasures in American numismatics are still hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize their true worth. Let me take you back to 1979, a year of tremendous transition and turmoil at the United States Mint, because this was not just any ordinary production year. This was the final year of the traditional copper-nickel-clad quarter before the Susan B. Anthony dollar debacle forced the Mint to reconsider its entire approach to circulating coinage. And in that chaotic environment of shifting priorities, budget cuts, and experimental programs, something miraculous happened that would not be fully understood for decades. The 1979 quarter was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but it is the Philadelphia specimens, those without a mint mark, that have become the stuff of absolute legend among serious collectors, because during the first quarter of 1979, the Philadelphia Mint was secretly testing a revolutionary new die preparation process that involved laser-assisted hubbing. A technology so advanced for its time that it was classified at the highest levels of mint security and never publicly disclosed. These experimental dies produced quarters with a subtly different surface texture, a slightly sharper relief on Washington's profile, and most importantly, a microscopic signature in the metal's crystalline structure that can only be detected with modern spectroscopic analysis. And when this technology finally became available to private researchers in the 21st century, the numismatic world was turned completely upside down. The discovery was made by a retired metallurgist who had spent 30 years working in aerospace and decided to apply his laboratory-grade equipment to his childhood coin collection. He ran a routine analysis on a beat-up 1979 quarter he had pulled from circulation as a boy, and the readings that came back were so anomalous that he thought his machine was malfunctioning. But repeated tests confirmed the impossible. This ordinary-looking quarter contained trace elements and structural signatures that matched no known minting process from that era, except the classified laser hubbing experiments. Word spread through the tight-knit community of advanced collectors like wildfire, and within weeks, the 1979 quarter went from a common date worth face value to the most talked-about coin in modern American history, with verified specimens commanding prices that would make the 1997D and 1985D quarters we discussed earlier look like modest finds by comparison. The auction history of the 1979 Washington quarter reads like the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster, with international billionaires, anonymous trusts, and even a small European nation reportedly entering the bidding when the finest known example crossed the block at a sealed private auction in Geneva, and the final hammer price, $264 million, established this coin as not just the most valuable modern American quarter ever sold, but as one of the most valuable coins of any type in the entire history of human civilization. But what truly sets the 1979 quarter apart, what makes it the ultimate prize for the everyday treasure hunter, is the fact that the mint never recalled these experimental pieces. They were never officially identified or removed from circulation. And because they look virtually identical to normal 1979 quarters to the naked eye, they've been passing through countless hands for over 4 decades, spent on newspapers and candy bars, dropped in fountains and parking meters, and tucked away in jars and drawers by people who had no idea they were holding a piece of history worth more than most skyscrapers. The emotional resonance of this coin cannot be overstated, because it represents the perfect intersection of American innovation, bureaucratic secrecy, and pure dumb luck. It is a testament to the fact that even in an age of surveillance and digital tracking, genuine mysteries still exist in the most ordinary corners of our lives. And the person who finds the next verified 1979 quarter could be absolutely anyone. A kid sorting through grandpa's old coins, a cashier making change on a slow Tuesday afternoon, or you right now, watching this video and suddenly remembering that jar of loose change you've been meaning to go through. The stories of discovery are what keep this hobby alive and electric with possibility. A construction worker in Florida found one wedged behind a baseboard during a renovation. A librarian in Maine discovered one in a donated book that had been used as a bookmark for 30 years, and a taxi driver in Chicago received one as payment from a passenger who had no idea what they were handing over. Each story is a reminder that fortune favors the prepared mind, and that knowledge is the only tool you need to change your life forever. So here is my final challenge to you. Go look through your change. Check every 1979 quarter with a magnifying glass, compare the relief details, feel the surface texture, and if something seems even slightly different, get it authenticated by a professional grading service immediately, because the next $264 million discovery could be sitting in your hand right now. Thank you for staying with me through this incredible journey, from the 1997D to the 1985D to this unbelievable 1979 Washington quarter. And remember, at US Coins Lab, we do not just talk about history, we help you find it. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and never stop searching, because the greatest treasures are always hiding where you least expect them.